July 14, 2025 began with an eerie calm over eastern Ukraine. The sun crept over the horizon, casting long shadows across fields scarred by months of relentless fighting. The mist clung to the ground, muffling distant sounds and making the world feel suspended in uneasy silence. For a brief moment, the land seemed to hold its breath, as if nature itself was waiting for what would come next. For the 92nd Mechanized Brigade near Bakhmut, silence was more unnerving than artillery. Every soldier knew that quiet on the front rarely lasted long. The men and women huddled in their trenches, straining to hear any sign of movement, every sense heightened by the knowledge that danger could erupt at any second. The absence of gunfire was not a comfort, but a warning, a signal that the enemy might be preparing for something new. Their mission: hold the line, a war of inches, not miles. Each day was a test of endurance and resolve, as they reinforced their positions, checked their weapons, and prepared for whatever the day might bring. The front shifted slowly, with every meter gained or lost paid for in sweat, fear, and sometimes blood. The soldiers knew that their stand here mattered not just for themselves but for the families and towns behind them. Each trench was a fortress, each soldier a guardian. The dugouts lined with sandbags and timber became both shelter and prison. Faces, young and old, bore the marks of sleepless nights and constant vigilance. In these narrow corridors of earth, camaraderie was forged in hardship, and every glance exchanged between comrades spoke volumes about trust and shared purpose. The air was thick with damp soil and cordite, a constant reminder of the conflict. The mud clung to boots and uniforms, the acrid scent of spent ammunition lingering long after the last shot was fired. Every step through the trench was a reminder of battles fought, and the ever-present threat of new attacks. The landscape itself seemed to absorb the tension, echoing the anxiety of those who defended it. Veterans and volunteers alike knew the stakes: protect comrades in towns further west. Some had seen years of war, their eyes hardened by loss and experience. Others were new, their faces still carrying traces of youth and hope. Yet, in the trenches, differences faded. They shared stories, rations, and the unspoken promise to watch each other's backs, united by a cause greater than themselves. Russian forces probed for weaknesses. A single mistake could invite disaster. The enemy was always watching, always waiting for a lapse in discipline or a gap in the defenses. Ukrainian soldiers scanned the horizon, binoculars pressed to their eyes, searching for any sign of movement. An enemy patrol, a glint of metal, the telltale dust of approaching vehicles. Every decision, every action, could tip the balance between survival and catastrophe. The enemy's drones were a constant threat, denying any sense of safety. The whine of rotors overhead sent hearts racing and forced soldiers to take cover, knowing that at any moment, a drone could relay their position or unleash a deadly payload. The sky, once a source of hope, had become another front in the battle, filled with unseen dangers. Survival depended on outsmarting the enemy's technology. Camouflage nets were draped over positions, and electronic jammers hummed quietly, trying to disrupt the enemy's eyes in the sky. Radios crackled with coded messages as commanders coordinated movements and shared intelligence. Every soldier played a part in this chess game, where adaptation and quick thinking could mean the difference between life and death. The question was not if the drone would come, but when. Each man and woman in the trench lived with that knowledge, nerves stretched taut as they waited for the next sound from above. In this war, anticipation was as exhausting as action, and every day on the Eastern Front was a test of courage, patience, and unbreakable will. Just after 10, the dreaded sound began: a Russian drone. Soldiers spotted it. A Zala 421-16 Echo circling high above. Equipped with high-resolution cameras, it meant they were being watched. The Zala pinpointed Ukrainian positions for Russian artillery. The time between spotting and shelling could be mere minutes. Panic gripped the platoon. They dispersed, seeking cover. The Zala's optics could detect even subtle movements. Infantrymen felt helpless against a machine flying 2 kilometers above. The Zala circled with impunity, a predator observing its prey. The clock was ticking. The 92nd Brigade wasn't as helpless as it seemed. Ukraine had mastered asymmetric warfare, turning enemy strengths into weaknesses. A 2-man counter-drone team sprang into action, their weapon another drone, a testament to Ukraine's adaptability. The team, digital natives, honed their skills in combat. Their interceptor, a modified first-person view drone, a guided missile. Costing around $1,500, it was a disposable, high-speed weapon. The pilot, a new breed of warrior, prepared for the ultimate test. The The lives of comrades depended on his skill and ingenuity. The order came through crisp and urgent over the radio. Target locked, launch authorized. In that instant, the entire operation shifted from tense anticipation to rapid execution. Every second now mattered, every movement was critical. The team had trained for this moment, but nothing could truly prepare them for the intensity of a real mission. Maxim, the pilot, slipped on his FPV goggles, the world outside fading away as he entered the digital cockpit. With the headset snug against his face, he became the drone, his vision, his senses, his very awareness now fused with the machine. The hum of the command center faded, replaced by the whir of propellers and the rush of wind in his ears. Yuri, his teammate, gripped the drone tightly, feeling the weight of its payload. With a practiced motion, he hurled it skyward. The drone leapt from his hand, slicing through the air with a burst of energy, climbing rapidly as its camera feed flickered to life in Maxim's goggles. The hunt began immediately. A digital timer started its relentless countdown, just 7 minutes to intercept the target before it slipped away. Every tick of the clock was a reminder of the razor-thin margin for error. Maxim's world narrowed to a tunnel of speed and motion. The landscape below blurred into streaks of green and brown as he pushed the drone to its limits. He was no longer just a pilot. He was the drone itself, racing against time and distance. Yuri's voice crackled in his earpiece, relaying the latest coordinates. "Zala at 2 o'clock, moving fast!" Maxim adjusted course instantly, trusting Yuri's eyes on the ground to guide him through the chaos of the battlefield. Far ahead, the Zala reconnaissance drone was just a tiny speck against the vast blue sky, its operators unaware of the danger closing in. It drifted confidently, designed to evade detection, but today it faced an adversary it hadn't anticipated. Maxim's focus was absolute. His hands gripped the controls with white-knuckled intensity. He knew that a single moment of distraction, a blink, a hesitation, could mean failure, not just for him, but for the entire platoon depending on his skill. The battery indicator flashed a warning, the power draining faster than expected as he pushed the drone to maximum speed. Every maneuver, every burst of acceleration brought him closer to the target but also closer to the risk of losing power before the mission was complete. The Zala, engineered to slip past radar and electronic surveillance, was now vulnerable to this new, agile threat. It had never been designed to face a direct, physical interception, especially not from a pilot as determined as Maxim. Maxim gritted his teeth, heart pounding as he closed the final distance. The target grew larger in his viewfinder, every detail now visible. The moment of truth was seconds away. Back at the command center, the entire platoon watched in tense silence. The outcome of the mission, and perhaps their own safety, rested entirely on Maxim's skill and nerve. The pressure was immense, but he was ready. The fate of the platoon rested on his hands and he would not let them down. The intercept was a high-stakes aerial duel. Maxim was within range, the Zala filling his screen. The Russian operator, focused on the ground, was unaware of the threat. Maxim lined up the Zala, aiming for a direct collision. The warhead was contact-fused. He had one shot. The pressure was immense, but Maxim's training took over. He closed the last 50 meters, aiming for the center mass. The screen flashed to static. The impact was confirmed. Soldiers below heard a faint pop, then saw debris fall. The Zala's menacing whine was gone, replaced by cheers. The eye in the sky was blind. The Zala's destruction reset the countdown to an artillery strike. Russian gunners, now blind, couldn't fire with precision. Lives were saved by the quick thinking of the drone team. The event boosted morale, proving they could fight back. Soldiers felt a renewed sense of agency, actively hunting the hunters. For Russia, the loss introduced uncertainty and risk. Reconnaissance operators had to consider low-cost interceptors. The lesson-rapid, bottom-up innovation is powerful. Solutions were shared across units, part of a decentralized defense network. Ingenuity proved more powerful than a massive budget. The duel between drones is more than just a spectacle of technology. It's a vivid illustration of a profound shift in the nature of modern warfare. Where once the battlefield was dominated by tanks, jets, and massive artillery, today, the skies are alive with small, agile machines piloted from afar. These drone-on-drone encounters are rewriting the rules of engagement, showing that the future of conflict is being shaped not just by firepower, but by the ability to outthink and outmaneuver the enemy in real time. Military strength is no longer measured solely by the size of an army or the price tag of its hardware. The era when nations could rely on fleets of expensive platforms to guarantee dominance is fading. Today, the most advanced tanks and fighter jets can be threatened by devices that cost a fraction of their value. This new reality is forcing military planners to reconsider what true power looks like on the battlefield. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has become a proving ground for this new paradigm. Here we see how traditional assumptions about military might are being challenged daily. Ukrainian forces, often outgunned and outnumbered, have leveraged innovation to level the playing field, using drones to disrupt, surveil, and strike with precision. In this environment, victory is determined not by who has the most resources, but by who can innovate and adapt the fastest. The ability to quickly modify tactics, repurpose technology, and deploy new solutions on the fly has become the decisive factor in gaining the upper hand. Cheap, widely available technology has democratized the tools of war, giving smaller, more agile forces an unexpected advantage. Off-the-shelf drones, once used for photography or recreation, are now being transformed into potent weapons and surveillance tools, blurring the line between civilian and military tech. These low-cost systems are capable of inflicting damage far beyond their price, neutralizing high-value targets and causing disproportionate losses. A single drone, costing a few $100s, can destroy equipment worth millions, shifting the cost-benefit equation of warfare. This new threat landscape is forcing conventional militaries to rethink their strategies from the ground up. Commanders must now account for the unpredictable and rapidly evolving capabilities of adversaries who can innovate at the speed of necessity. The Ukrainian model stands out for its empowerment of soldiers on the ground, encouraging them to experiment with technology and develop creative solutions. This bottom-up approach fosters a culture of rapid innovation, where ideas are tested and implemented without waiting for lengthy approval processes. Unlike traditional procurement cycles that can take years, Ukrainian troops iterate and deploy new solutions in a matter of days or even hours. This agility allows them to stay one step ahead, constantly adapting to the changing realities of the battlefield. The emergence of the FPV interceptor drone signals the dawn of a new age, one where ingenuity, adaptability, and speed are the ultimate weapons. In this era, the side that can innovate faster and smarter will hold the advantage, regardless of traditional measures of strength. Today, the lone drone pilot, operating from a hidden position, eyes glued to a screen, is as crucial to the outcome of a battle as the tank commander or the fighter pilot. In the age of innovation, every individual with the right tools and mindset can tip the scales of war.